Hey Virgo, welcome to your April 2020 Practically Soulful reading. Practically Soulful readings, the intention behind that, I'm hoping that soul messages, higher wisdom and consciousness comes down through and is then able to be applied to the very physical and materialistic, practical levels of our experience. So, it's great, I feel. It is great and all to have connection to source, to higher knowing, to be really drawn into that higher wisdom and purpose. However, I've always felt, well, I've personally sought it anyway, just a linking reason. Why do I know all that stuff? Why am I experiencing life from that level or gaining insights from that view? Very drawn to be able to embody that in my everyday experience, and I guess that's been a big part of my journey and my purpose with connecting with empaths, sensitives and intuitives and those on the awakening path. I think that we fundamentally can use spirituality to disconnect in many ways, without wanting to face our everyday responsibilities and challenges, and we can use meditation and I guess anything really that is encompassed by spirituality. We can use that as a form of disconnect. So a big part of my learning and my journey has been about facing, connecting, bridging. Hence this style of reading was an inspiration for me. So hopefully it resonates for you, Virgo, this month. I do tell the zodiacs, primarily these practically soulful readings, fundamentally centered around your core sign, which is your sun sign. Though the position the sun was in when you were born, Virgo, is essentially your purpose, your core messages, your core healing, your core wisdom and learnings for this lifetime. However, as I structure the reading into 4 quadrants, which also reflect the weeks of the month, okay, if you like, but in all my work, I focus on the 5 bodies. We are more than just a soul. We are a physical body, we are an emotional body, an energy body, and a thought body, okay? So those quadrants might be reflected in those levels of your being too, okay? So let's have a look, Virgo, and see what messages soul might want to infuse in the month of April for you. How are you feeling? I know many of us are finding ourselves in week 2, week 3, week 4 even, depending on where you are across the world, of lockdown. We're all dealing with it in a different way, aren't we? Okay, let's take a look, Virgo. Hopefully this message provides some inspiration, some healing, a creative spark maybe, confirmation. Let's see what April has planned for you, the lovely Virgos that are tuning into this message. Indecision, and above that is freedom. Below that is trust. In the past, Virgo, is doubt. What you are walking into is balance, which is always a really good thing to walk into. Underneath all of this is blame, Virgo. Now, when we are working with the energy of blame, because it sits underneath all of this, so any challenges that might come up or present within these soul readings, the energy imbued underneath this that we're trying to really decide whether we want to be grounded in or not is the energy of blame. I accept responsibility for my well-being. This is always bringing us back to ourselves. We are the master creators of our lives and our experience, Virgo. When it comes to blame, we're automatically disconnecting ourselves from being the manifestor of our journey. Now, I know that is very, very challenging when it comes to the most difficult experiences and chapters of our life, because it's one thing as an outsider to say, hey, accept responsibility for that. But the very real human truth is, despite who we are, despite what we give, despite what we do and our intentions, whether they're pure, it doesn't discount the fact that an experience can be extremely challenging because of someone's selfish choices, actions that are completely out of our control, and decisions that are made on a higher level, levels outside of our reach, if you like, okay? And you can apply that to anything, Virgo. You can apply that to personal connections. You can apply it to circumstances out of your control within your environment, how you were brought up as a child, decisions that are made by government, anything to that effect, okay? So, but when we are working within the realms and energy of blame, because it is about stepping into our shadow, okay? We never discount the fact that every chakra, every emotion, every experience offers us a light and shadow always. So in order to come into balance, which is what you're walking into, the energy you are walking into is balance, okay? That's what this message and this month is all about for you, Virgo. We must really get to the nitty-gritty of what blame is, because it forms the base of your reading. I accept responsibility for my own well-being. And that's what it comes down to. It comes to that empowerment of choice. Now, empowerment is reflected in our solar plexus, our third chakra, okay, which is all this yellow, Virgo. And I could be talking to Virgos that are really getting to the crux of this lesson right now. I could be talking to Virgos that have transcended it and really practice what they preached, and perhaps looking back and going in reflection mode, if you like, okay? But blame, all right? So that's forming the soil that's being nurtured right now, whether we're nurturing it with wisdom and integration, whether we're nurturing it because we have to wade through it and experience it in order to truly know it, yeah? Nothing is ever, no experience is without its wisdom or its gift, Virgo. What energy you are working within right now is indecision. So I'm talking to Virgos that are feeling indecisive about next steps. Perhaps they're holding themselves a little bit back. Perhaps, you know, and I want to look at this as a juxtapose, okay? See how in the blame we're working with empowerment, we're infusing that understanding, we're feeling perhaps disempowered by how situations were ultimately not to our liking in the past, or choices didn't go our way, or we're looking at blame on some level. And at the end of it, Virgo, all we really can do when we take responsibility for our well-being, our state of mind, our perceptions, our beliefs about ourselves and our worth, and what is worth going for or not, or what's worth putting a boundary line down for or not. You know, it is always within us to accept a choice, to engage that choice and to act on it, okay, which comes from our will and choosing to see ourselves completely empowered to do so. So that really, we never really look at anyone outside of ourselves to blame, because we've been an active participant in that healing, that learning, that wisdom, that experience. We've been an active participant, and we chose to on some level. Now, I do see for the Virgos that I'm talking to, you're looking back perhaps on something like this. There's still remnants of this energy sitting around infusing you because you're feeling indecisive at this time. So what was seen and understood and integrated, you see the value in taking accountability for well-being, perception, choice, in anything, okay? This is a general reading. Now, you see the value in taking accountability for your role in order to avoid blame, all right? But there's something here that's making you feel indecisive, okay? And it's sparking some base chakra stuff, a little bit of fear. But this is all inviting you into that third eye chakra. What did you see? What have you learned? What are you seeing about yourself now? What are you seeing about how you are integrating this deeper understanding of accountability to avoid blame? All right, so indecision is the energy that centers your reading. I use my intuition in all aspects of life. Have you blamed yourself in the past for not following your intuition? Have you blamed yourself in the past for following your intuition? Wow, this just reminded me. My deepest fear. This is going to resonate for some Virgos. My deepest fear is that I denied my intuition and I was right. My deepest fear is that my intuition was right. Whether you engage intuition or not, this is the eternal dance of the soul, Virgo. This is the eternal dance of the soul. Where in the past are you blaming yourself or others for choices you've made purely on intuition? Was that intuition? Now, I want to talk about this red and purple, okay? There is a very distinct difference when we are responding to life through deep knowing, through wisdom. Intuition feels different. And it's distinctly different from when we are reacting to life from trauma. Deep, right? You know how there's a common saying out there, and I see it a lot, and this is just my personal belief, okay? You take what resonates and what works for you. You apply perceptions, beliefs, ideas that work for you. That's always what I will always say in my work. However, I see out there, you know, there's this mainstream follow your gut, but by God, sometimes our gut is completely disempowered. We are operating from an energy of disempowerment, and our willpower has been challenged. We are not feeling empowered, okay? So when the solar plexus is out of balance, here we feel anxiety, we feel uncertainty, we feel not confident. So when we react to new information, when we are found within a crossroads of choice, or whether we take a risk, or whatever the case may be, Virgo, you know, if you follow your gut, it's important to truly connect into how that energy is permeating within your being, you know, because intuition is just this warm, deep, and it's going to sit different in everyone, okay? I don't like to be the lecturer and say, this is the truth and this is how it works. It's not. It's actually a very unique experience for everyone. But sorry about the neighbours' dogs, but just by planting seeds to give you something to think about, you know, when we follow our gut, as the saying goes, I feel it's very, very important to really connect into that concept, and you'll know in yourself. And I think this is why we need energy management, awareness, understanding 101, so we know how energy moves and is experienced uniquely within all of us. So I do feel I'm talking to Virgos that are at a point right now that this month is all about how you approach indecision, how much you genuinely partner up with your intuition. What role has it played in your life before? And are you blaming yourself for not following your intuition in the past? Are you blaming yourself for following intuition in the past and still led to unhappiness perhaps, and triggered some base chakra stuff? And you know what? If you were a baby and you were only just beginning to walk, we all like to think that we're not getting criticized for that. It's something you're just starting to do, yeah? You wouldn't judge a child for learning to ride a bike for the first time. You'd be there on the sideline going, good job, that's fantastic, well done. There is this thorough understanding that individual is only doing it for the first time. And you know, when it comes to incorporating our wisdom, our intuition, getting a feel for how that moves within us and how that operates, it is pointless to blame ourselves for the times it perhaps failed us, because we were yet still learning to decide, do we follow our head, do we follow our heart? Is this intuitively right for me? You know, the eternal dance between our connection to our intuition and our wisdom is an everlasting one, Virgo. And in every moment we are learning how that relationship that we have with ourselves and our intuition is forming, growing, being nurtured. And with every choice to trust your intuition, you are further away from blame, and you are nurturing a beautiful connection with it. Don't ever forget that. Strong intuitive stuff, okay? But the theme this month is about indecision and how you allow that to fuel empowerment and blame. The relationship with your intuition is important this month, Virgo. underneath all this is trust. Okay, and I'm going to say this super quick. Trust is what is gained when we practice having a genuine, an ongoing, an integrative experience with our intuition. You know, think of the world, the mainstream world that we live in. We are so switched off from each other. We are so switched off from self. We fundamentally lack trust in the goodness of life. We fundamentally lack an appreciation for the goodness of life because we're waiting for something bad to happen. We've been let down in the past. Our whole world is very much glorified. If you turn on the news, as you know, 80% of what you're watching is alarming. It's fear-based. We are constantly shown in messages, subliminally and not, that the world is a distrustful place. And how those that go out there and take risk are quite, risque, really, you know, because we want that scientific, tangible proof for things. We want surety. We want strong foundations that don't topple. This is just the energy that is imbued in our society and our way of life, really. So is it any wonder that intuition, spirituality has been ridiculed? Because, you know, it was beliefs and perceptions and opinions were formed very long ago when people were burned on the stake and whatnot, and anything outside of the norm was abnormal. So that's all this is about. Like, intuition is, practically speaking, very much about the trust that we have with ourselves. And when we deeply trust ourselves, Virgo, we can very easily define our relationship with trust as a whole, regardless of this. But regardless of if we can or cannot trust other people, it actually becomes more stronger. What we do connect into is very clear understanding of our boundaries, how we will respond at the moment that we are needing to respond, and not before, not overthinking, not living in disempowered blame based on indecision. When we step into trust, what does it feel like? What does it feel like? It feels like freedom. It feels like freedom, Virgo. And it is within this freedom that we are free of the baggage. We are free of the concern of overthinking. We are free of the ties that bind us to suspicion and the weight of the past, and where our trust was breached in the past, perhaps, where we've breached our own trust. We're free of the murkiness of indecision, Virgo. And freedom is the goal, yeah? It too is also woven in the fabric of our life and our mainstream reality. We have been sold a vision and a picture about what freedom looks like on the material plane. If we work hard, make money, we will be free to enjoy life at a certain level. I could just talk all day about it. I'm the eternal philosopher. This is what life is for, I think. To feel free, because we just trust that everything is happening for a reason, has happened for a reason, and will happen for our highest good, all so that we can continually enjoy this eternal dance with our intuition and our connection to soul and our connection to trust, our desires for freedom within every aspect of our experience of this reality, you know. It happens within connections. It happens within our relationship to our work. It happens within our perception of ourselves and our life. It happens within the lens that we view our past through. If you can completely trust, you will feel free. That's a tall order. But you know what? We spend our whole life working hard, head down, bum up. We spend a lot of time thinking, judging ourselves, blaming ourselves and others. This strong focus on everything that ultimately looks nothing like this. It looks nothing like freedom. And this is what crowns you this month, Virgo. This is that light that's trying to get you to look up. Do you want to feel free? What are you going to do about it? I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. Yes, you do. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly because you trust. This is the beautiful gift of April for you, Virgo, my dear, because you are coming from the past. You are coming from doubt. You are truly, I'm talking to Virgos that are truly stepping into this and really even looking at their journey in the lens of trust. That every time they've perhaps engaged the energy of blame, that it's ultimately not made you feel free, Virgo, yeah? Free of understanding, free of, free of wisdom of everything that's happened to date. And it's about this freedom. We want to fly bagless, weightless, we want to enjoy life like a toddler, free-flowing and never stagnating in our thoughts and our emotions, the laughing Buddha. Okay, in the past, obviously, like I said, you're coming out of doubt, all right? I think that came up in last week's reading for you. And you are moving into balance, my dear. Some beautiful balance of that third eye chakra stuff. Look at the similarities of the strength cards you've got. This is your core, your pillar. You are crowned by freedom. You are founded, grounded in trust. Okay, what's going on for you is your relationship to indecision. What you're walking into is balance. Look at the similarities. Kind of matches my shirt. It's beautiful. Lots of high energy stuff there, Virgo. Lots of higher heart chakra, lots of communication chakra, throat chakra stuff. Redefining how you see your fears. Look at that base chakra stuff, which is actually quite enriching and very beautiful kind of red. It's not a murky red, it's an enriched base chakra. So you are enriching, restructuring foundations based on this new, okay? Trust, freedom, from indecision into balance. Okay, love? Let's go and do some tarot because I am pushing these soul readings lately. Like they've been 40 minutes max. And it's at this point in the reading I will generally say, oh, the tarot is going to be a quick one. No, it never is. The 4 quadrants of your being when it comes to your relationship with trust. Firm decisions, okay? Because we are moving out of indecision, because you are moving out of doubt. So indecision is turning to decisiveness, Virgo. When you strengthen this connection that you have with trust, when you strengthen your commitment to the infusion of freedom in your life, in whatever form that means, okay? And as I said earlier, your base underneath all this is blame. Okay, you've had a really good relationship with blame perhaps in the past, in your journey to date. What role does it want to play in your life? What role do you decide that it plays in your life? I just love the colors. I love the beautiful colors, Virgo. There's 4, because this is your past card. It's the one that's, I keep getting that. Is it Sesame Street? Which one is different? You are moving out of really old, deeper heart chakra stuff too, Virgo. Murky heart chakra stuff. When it comes to doubt, when it comes to following your heart, the wisdom of your heart. See? I release the need to know all the answers. Well, by golly gosh. Don't we all need to do that? That wants to come out. Let's check out your 4 quadrants. 9 of coins, Page of cups, Ace of wands. I'm loving this. Second week, 10 of swords, Five of Cups, Four of Wands, Two of Wands, Virgo, the Star, the Devil, Ace of Swords. You've got two aces, the King of Pentacles and the Fool. Holy goodness gracious. Page of Swords. Okay. A youthful way to communicate. Page of Swords. Could represent a child. Bear with me a minute. There's some stuff happening here. Messages, when I get itchy, like my crown, when I'm channeling, it's an itch all above the high chakra stuff, so don't mind me. And I like my sinuses too. All right, week one, which is what we're in, Virgo, yeah? You've actually got a beautiful month. Like, when you move into trust, when you move into choosing to maintain your strong relationship with your intuition, when you're choosing freedom over the weight and murkiness of indecision, as you move into balance, there's this freedom. You end the month in your element, getting crystal clear, cutting away anything that doesn't work for you anymore so that you can truly step into the King of Pentacles. Okay? Getting into long-term stability and long-term assurity of knowing who you are. This is the mastery of your suit. Okay? This is the mastery of the earth element. It's strong, grounded, stable. This wisdom you are integrating this month, Virgo, you are cutting away the past. I know I'm starting at the end. I'm going to have to go back to the beginning. But maybe it's one of those weird stories that you see, you know, where you get clippets of scenes and pictures and then let's go back to the beginning. Maybe that's a message for you, Virgo, actually. Going back to the beginning, like it's this reflective, like where you are right now in your life, and you are doing some reflecting, going back to key points in the timeline that ultimately gifted you with and influence your relationship to the relationship you have with intuition and trust, and to being indecisive and not choosing yourself and your happiness 100%, regardless of what about the consequences or whatever, whether it was shaped by the past influences or not. So how you end the month is this is a brand new chapter, a new relationship you have with yourself, cutting away stuff that no longer matters, and that could be completely based on perceptions and thoughts. The swords rule the thought realm, okay? But you end the month completely at the pinnacle of your suit, of your element. That's beautiful. Okay, let's start. But look how it kicks off. This is where you are. This is passion, sensuality, divine spark. This is a massive gift from the divine. Messages of love. This could be an apology too, But this apology, maybe we're forgiving ourselves based on this divine spark and inspiration and sudden knowing that's come down. This is maybe an apology that we owe ourselves. And because I look at these three cards and I feel like this self-sufficiency and everything that you have grown, formed, achieved, this is you, and you alone have got you to where you are, Virgo. And I think many Virgos in the first week of April are really seeing themselves in a whole new way, seeing their opportunities and their past in a whole new way. Like I was picking up on that frequency. It's this threading that you've probably done a lot of deep diving perhaps in the past, because you're coming out of doubt, Virgo, all right? There's some clarity. Like this month is about closing chapters well and truly, but also about divine, inspiring new beginnings with a new way of looking at yourself. Maybe this is an opportunity, okay? The Ace of Wands is an amazing creative opportunity for you to really step into self-sufficiency here. The Nine of Coins is about independence, like financial independence, if you like, and success, and patting yourself on the back for everything that you've achieved, okay, and will be achieving. This is an opportunity to be able to feel like this. This is material abundance that is born off the hard work of your own back, all right? Communications. This is an offer too, okay? Anything that feels emotionally satisfying, nurturing. It could be an offer of a gift, an opportunity, an offer of an opportunity to feel like this, you know? It's a youthful, and I feel like I'm doing a flush with some Virgos. Like this is a youthful, from doubt, from the murkiness of doubt, right? You're stepping into a more youthful experience of your emotions and your ability to express emotions, even Virgo, because you're strongly connecting into trust and freedom to communicate emotions. Yeah? Freedom and clarity to see the beautiful opportunities that are in front of you and taking them. This is manifestation energy. You're manifesting this, Virgo, this sense of stability, surety. You're infusing the magic into life and grounding that down into the physical, tangible. Watch what you grow. Watch what can be achieved. And I think even for some Virgos, they're communicators. They're connecting into family, friends, loved ones. You're communicating a beautiful, divinely inspired message that's actually something tangible. Yeah? Whether that's a gift, creative ability, whether that's just loving words and messages to those you care about. All right, you can interpret these three cards however you wish, but I feel like many Virgos I'm connecting into. Oh, there's a fish in this cup. I never even knew that. I never even knew there was a fish in the Page of Cups cup. Teach a man to fish, or give him a fish. There's something old and wise that you are integrating here. Your journey, your lesson, you are celebrating because you're coming out of doubt, right? Life has taught you has taught you the value of what it is to fish, Virgo. Because everything that was ever learned was truly a gift, even though it was packaged in perhaps rough times and choppy emotions. Look at the waves behind him. Yeah, wow. I love how you can just keep analysing tarot cards. And something, a person, an opportunity, an experience comes out of nowhere. And you know that it's not quite here yet, but there's a kingdom there. There's an opportunity to explore vast lands and a whole new chapter of life with this gift. Yes, you are that gift for others, Virgo. Okay. 32 minutes. Do not be alarmed when you see the Ten of Swords. In traditional tarot, it does look like a horrific picture. It is someone face down that feels like they've very much been stabbed in the back by life. Does this mean it's going to happen? Not necessarily. Because of the combination of cards. Okay? I feel, Virgo, because this is a closing, this is an ending, like the key message of the Ten of Swords is the worst truly is behind you. So if you are, and I think you're really feeling this too, Virgo, because you are coming out of doubt. Because when we're operating in doubt and putting ourselves on guard and not trusting, because we're looking back through the lens of blame every time our intuition let us down, all right? You are coming out of loss, you are coming out of emotional losses, you are ending this. The worst is behind you because you're coming out of doubt. You're really permeating right now in indecision, yes, but I think you're going to feel this energy so much more strongly, because when you truly do know that the past is done, that the worst is behind you, because I feel like I'm connected to some Virgos that are perhaps wondering what, you know, the future will bring, what the next 4 weeks are going to be like, perhaps. But for the most part, I feel like I'm talking to a majority of Virgos that are starting to truly feel this inspired energy. That there's this gift, this opportunity, this positive momentum forward that emotionally resets you, that makes you feel like, you know, the worst truly is behind you. Because what you're doing is re-establishing foundations. The Four of Wands is also the 1111 card. It's that peace, stability, what we come home to. And every day, Virgo, you know, we come home unto ourselves. When we are alone at night, when we are in our thoughts, we are either like this or we're like this, you know. This is the four walls, the two eyes, the two arms that you call home. What the choices that make you feel free because you trust your decision completely. Yeah? The new foundations that will form the four walls of your life, Virgo, so that when you walk through this new chapter out of this old one, you know that you are coming home. You have taken an opportunity here in the Ace of Wands in the first week of April. And if you just look, you see in the distant land, that's this journey you've been meandering through, and look where it goes. That's it there. That's the journey. That thing in the background is like a kingdom, a castle or something. I'm going to take this opportunity because I've got a good feeling about it. I'm intuitively trusting, you know, and look where it leads you. To a sense of coming home to yourself, knowing that you've walked away from loss, yes. And it's on this journey you've been on while you've taken this new opportunity, perhaps, that you've traveling through the same landscape. This same landscape exists, look. See? Look at the river, the land. And through this experience of your life, of your journey, of your relationship with trust and freedom and indecision, it's been a journey of accepting emotional loss, accepting that betrayal is a thing, and yes, it happens, but it doesn't have to be your eternal truth, because our eternal truth exists in here, not in here, Virgo. Trust doesn't just sit here in the human mind. It is a combination of energy of the beautiful gift we have been given when it comes to the power of our mind, yes. There's a higher mind, a multi-dimensional mind, whatever you want to call it, that is infused with the wisdom of our heart. There's so much I can say, and I just keep extending these readings to hours upon hours, you know. It's your awakening, and 1111 is an awakening number. Yes, you might be seeing that, but also too know that it is the pillars that we walk through when we have cleansed our soul of some wisdom, teachings and learnings. I'm talking to Virgos that have been through the ringer, yes, make no mistake, but it has all been of purpose in order to get you on this journey that has ultimately helped you integrate some deeper soul wisdoms about yourself, about the relationship you have with commitment, the commitment and ties that bind you. This could be the commitment you have to old beliefs that no longer work, perceptions, an old way of partnering and connecting, and connections that feel toxic. You know, don't mistake the devil card. It is not essentially a bad card. Yes, it very much talks about the human shadows and the power that can have on our relationship with trust, which is what this is all about for you, and how powerfully these kind of connections can also impact balance. Yeah? Did you follow your intuition once and it led you to here, Virgo, you know? This is the shadow of the human psyche, where we are constantly challenged and asking ourselves, have I made the right choice? Is this good for me? Is it nourishing? The truth is, and you know, this is also a marriage card because it represents a deep bind. It depends on what cards it comes with. Yeah, those three look good. But if this was accompanied by some heavier, challenging cards, it is definitely then toxic. But if the devil card comes with some inspirational or lighter cards, then it talks of a deep connection. You're right? So, because if you look at this, well, in the realms of toxicity and heaviness and ties that bind us, these guys can free themselves. You know, they can access that which keeps them bound, and they can free themselves, but they feel bound for a reason. Now, you can also look at the devil card as contracts, commitments, loans, that we're in it for the long haul. So that energy applies to connections too. That energy also applies to the relationship you have with your intuition, Virgo, and whether it feels like freedom or doubt. Yeah? Everything in life is a choice. a sensation, an experience that ultimately will always feel like this or like this. And it's all well and good for someone to say, you'll know what intuition is. It feels like freedom. It feels warm knowing. But you know what? It's not until we journey through life, Virgo, and take an opportunity to experience the many shades that it's here to gift us with, so that we can actually determine what is light, what is dark for us, what is freedom, what is doubt. That's how we come into being. That's how we strengthen our relationship with trust. That's how we strengthen our relationship with our intuition fundamentally. And it is born and reminded over eons. Every time we're incarnated, we've got to relearn that. It's a remembering, yeah? This is a beautiful connection that's inspired by now work with me here, okay? The energy of the cosmos, the emotional body, and grounding, okay? You can infuse your relationship with your intuition, knowing that it has always been guiding you in very practical and emotional ways. You're seeing the interconnection of all things, your experience, your challenges, your past, your relationship with indecision, your relationship with blame, your relationship with freedom has always, like I said before, I'm picking up on Virgos that are going to be doing this back weave through this month and really looking at your journey and how it has ultimately infused you with so much guiding principle, nourishment, an opportunity to get grounded and inspired by higher knowing. You've decided what emotions are worth hanging on to and what aren't. Something has shifted for you, maybe even in Aquarius season recently, Virgo. You might have an Aquarian in your life or in your chart. But I think this is key. This is the third week of April where you actually reform an optimistic and divinely inspired bond. And I feel very strongly it's a bond with your intuition, a new chapter in which to experience yourself and your life elevated. This, wow, look at this. This is Capricorn, this is Aquarius. You know what this gift is? Now, Saturn has just shifted into Aquarius and it'll be there for 3 months until it permanently shifts into Aquarius in December, okay, for the solstice. So we've just spent some time, astrologically speaking, with Saturn in Capricorn. Old ways of doing things, old ways of looking at ourselves, old ways of connecting, the old rules. Saturn is now shifting into Aquarius, okay, where there's this higher 5D way of doing things, connecting, relating, understanding, seeing the interconnectivity and infusing spirituality in all aspects of our life, Virgo. Yeah, the old world is dying, the old you is dying, the old relationship you had with your intuition and trust and freedom is dying, how you've held yourself back in so many ways, hoping and wishing on a prayer perhaps even, but not actively engaging your own divine fire to follow your intuition and be inspired by that part of you that has always known, seen the truth, known your deeper needs that you perhaps didn't nourish, didn't look up and remember. Because when we're here, Virgo, on the lower realms, experiencing our very human experience, it's very easy to get caught up in the materialism of life and what we think we're actually stuck to. Because freedom exists up there in the ether, yeah. It's something that sometimes feels so far away when we find ourselves in challenging circumstances. But I want you to look at this in a positive way. This is a deep bond, a deep commitment to yourself or another, regardless of the journey. But I feel very strongly this is a deep restructuring of your commitment to trust and inspiration and a new way of building structures and feeling optimistic about the opportunities and the beginnings that you have embarked upon and you are creating. Because when I said earlier, you're reforming your foundations. Yeah? the last week, like I said, I did a lot of talking about that already. We're on 44 minutes. Goodness gracious. With deep clarity, this is a whole new beginning into the higher elements of yourself. This could be, okay, let's look at it from the 4 quadrants of self. This can certainly be love, commitment. This can certainly be business ventures, financial success, growth and understanding that comes with this very relationship that we have. It is that relationship. Oh, okay, no, sorry. And it is that relationship that leads us to everything else. Freedom in love, freedom in abundance, freedom in our enjoyment of our experience. It is everything, okay? From indecision to freedom is where you're going, my dear. And I really need to wrap this up because there's not enough room. Watch how everything balances out. The journey has been worth it. It has been of purpose. It has taught you a lot. It has taught you a lot. This is beautiful. Double aces. Double aces, my dear. Okay? I hope you've enjoyed that. And your weekly reading will be up later this week too. Thanks, Virgo. Bye.